All right, welcome again to another episode of the Goalpost Gossip. I'm your host, Alton, and this is the podcast where football meets banter. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow the movement at Gossip Goalpost. Without further ado, let's get this ball rolling. Ball roll, and we're back. Well, today, this episode is basically going to be about just a little bit on weekend Premier League, just one game. And the main focus going to be on FA Cup. So, yeah, started off by talking about Arsenal. Arsenal won their game and they're now back on top of the table. But for how long? Manchester City still have the great opportunity of overpassing them. I just think that Manchester City really dropped the catch in a sense where they only beat Burnley by one goal. They should have beat Burnley by more than one goals. But hey, Manchester City have less pressure on them. Arsenal is the one who's under all that pressure. So, coming weekend, Manchester City should win their game and overtake Arsenal once more. Yeah, so Arsenal, after, you know, such a wonderful run, over 200 days, they be sitting on top of the Premier League, right? And only to do the usual stuff at the end right now, fumbling. But everyone is used to that now by Arsenal. So hopefully Man City can win the remainder of the game. Arsenal can get a draw somewhere or a loss, and Man City can go away with the title because we all know how we feel about Arsenal, right? You all know how we feel about Arsenal. They're loud, they're noisy, but you can see the team cracking because even like that victory that they had over the weekend, that 1-0 victory, you can see it means a lot, and it could have went the other way because they didn't play extremely well. Like I always said, they're playing very, very cautious only because they don't want to lose, and Saka is back. I see this change up this tragedy on the hand here, the way how they're taking their corners, because everyone kind of understand them and closing the door on them on their corner strategies. So in the last couple of games, they be changing it up where they be taking short corners and so forth and so on. So they're trying something different at the end to see if they can have a little bit of momentum at the end of the season. But City's on their tail, man. City is on their tail. So I am a Chelsea fan and I take the defeat from City just because I want City to go ahead and win the Premier League. I want City to go ahead and pass Arsenal, win the win the Premier League. So City, don't let us down. All right, that's the only Premier League game I'm going to be talking about. Now I'm going to be talking about FA Cup a little bit. Um, Manchester City won their game. It wasn't all done and dusted. Sunderland, I mean, yeah, I mean, Southampton, they did fought. They put on a show and they give Manchester City a run for their money. So it was a very entertaining game. I didn't watch all of it. I watched piece here and there because I was busy taking care of some stuff. But overall, after I watched the highlights and so forth, in entirety, it was a very, very good fight by Southampton. And yeah, I feel like they're gonna come up and cause a little problem in the league right now. They are a focused team, and they get promoted now back into the Premier League. Yeah, so I feel like they coming up to cause a little bit of bother. So Manchester City in the final, and who they are in there with? No other than Chelsea. This final gonna bring us back to the 2021 Champions League, where we met Manchester City in the final and we defeated them 1-0. I think that was the last time we beat Manchester City. That sucks. Hopefully this time around the tables will turn. So Chelsea finally beat Leeds. Chelsea finally beat Leeds, and the setup of the team was great. I felt like the formation was good. and you can see the drive, the energy, the effort in these players. It makes me think that were these players sabotaging Lamar Senior? Even though sometimes the way is how we put out the team, like the formation, like in his last game he had a three in the back. That's an Amorin thing that doesn't work in Premier League. We all know that you have a three in the back and five in the midfield there, and I mean that's an Amorin setup. But when I watch the game and I see how passionate these players are, how they are driving, how they are winning the second balls, how they are tackling for the ball, how they are creating chances. It makes me think that they were kind of like sabotaging Amarin. Well, maybe Amarin is the one who telling them don't take no shots until you are 2 yards away from the goal or something. Don't get no cross in the box unless there's five players in the box. So you watch these games and you see how Chelsea been playing, where they're not putting ball in the boxes, they're not taking shots. They dominate in possession, but they're not creating chances. But in this last game, you can see they created chances and they took chances and they could have scored more. Pedro hit the bar, hit the post. I mean, at some times they were open in the back because we were pressing high. And, it's a chance when you play football like that. But you are trying to trap the opposition in their half. And they did that and they did well. Leeds kind of shuffle up in the second half, kind of changed their formation. And because Leeds came out with a formation like what we played in our last game. They had a three in the back, 3-5, so they changed their formation and they were they had a little bit more presence in the second half. So they turned out to give Chelsea a good fight, but nevertheless, Chelsea held on to the victory. Enzo Fernandez scored that goal. I see he was pointing on his crest. He wasn't sure where it was, so he was like looking like, okay, this is where it's at, So it kind of, I mean, I celebrated the goal. We celebrate the victory, but you still leave a question mark over Enzo Fernandez's head. Do he really want to be here? After what he said, but will he give his all? He played really well in this game. It seems like he gave his all. He scored a goal. He won a lot of titles. He make a lot of completed passes. So he played well. Just let's see if he will continue on this or if he will just sabotage the team because he wants to leave. Or will we let him go in the summer now that we know where his heart is? You know what I mean? So, but nevertheless, Hub Chels, we just need to win our remainder games, the remainder of our games in Premier League, which is going to be hard for us to make it into the Champions League, which is if Aston Villa win Europa and they finish 6th and we finish 7th, then we can get a Champions League spot. That is the only way. That is the only way. But other than that, we are fighting to even get Europa. I don't know how we end up in this position, but hey, man, we're there. So up Chelsea from here. Let's win the remainder of our game, play good, and let's build this team up to go into the FA Cup final and at least get a silverware for this season. And we don't matter who is offing and puffing. We need to get the silverware because it's not who taught the most. You know what I mean? So Arsenal will be trophyless. Manchester United will be trophyless. And we will win FA Cup. Let's speak it into existence. So, yeah, man. So that's all I have to say for this episode. Again, I'm Alton, your host for Go Post Gossip. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow the movement at Gossip Gold Post. Until next time, peace. Peace.